Yep.
All right. We'll go ahead and open the June board meeting of the Lakeview Fire District. We'll stand and we'll say the prayer, please. Lord, we thank you for all that you do for us and all that you give us. Watch over us as we go out through these days and nights. Thank you for the plentiful rain we've had. And may things grow and develop as we would like them to, Lord. As we go out through this meeting, watch over us. May we make good decisions for the community. In your name we pray. Amen. Prayer, pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Miss Sonia, will you do a roll call, please?
All right, Brandon,
Here.
Mike,
Here.
Doug,
Here.
Daniel,
Here.
Tom,
Here.
me. That's everybody.
One open spot. Still. All right. Mr. Don Wallace is here with us tonight to give us our 2024 audits.
Sir, trying to be brief, I've got plenty to do on the agenda, it looks like.
You just want to get home.
That's right.
We know, I'm
That's right.
blaming on us.
That's right. Oh, do have your audit for calendar year, because that's all December year in for that. I know y'all do a lot of budgeting and stuff, kind of on fiscal year cycle and taxes and those kind of things, but anyway, we've got everything finished for your audit part in here. A little bit different letter than I'm required to give you, and usually just put a copy in with stuff, but kind of change that around a little bit. It's just required stuff. You can read it at your leisure. The main stuff, it just talks about the only primary estimates that we have, and we estimate depreciation, we estimate some allowance for doubtful accounts, and if you kind of read on down in there, it just says we didn't have any problems with management or any audit significant areas identified. So that's 2 pages long, but it's just a little change in how they're making us report all that, so I won't read all that stuff to you. The 3rd page of that, I did attach what we kind of do every year as a little exit memo for staff, and since we're kind of changing this up a little bit, I'm just trying to kind of put these points out there and attach them and run through them right quick. So just most of our adjustments are just routine accruals, depreciation, bank accounts were reconciled, and we make sure those kind of things are done. Just payroll taxes are up to date, that kind of stuff. So if you look at item 2 there, no significant discrepancies or errors regarding compliance, that kind of thing. You are a fire district, so if I haven't sent it to you, then we send you the PDF. Just send it to the state. Email address is in here, I'll give it to you. Again, it's the payroll taxes, those kind of things were up to date. You'll see some balances when we look in the report just in a second. That's just year-end tax deposits, state withholding, all that hits in December on the quarter, so it's a little bit higher typically. You did have a little bit of a decrease in the cash balances during 24. If you kind of adjusted out some of the assets sold and purchased, it would have been a little bit more negative, about $9,400. I know you're always looking for more revenue. I think the report she just handed you got about 141,000 in bank balances, which from December, that's another 5,000 or 6,000, a little bit less. And I know that stuff cycles. And trying to get folks to pay, and honestly, everywhere I'm at, it's tight. A lot tighter than it has been. And so, anyway, it's just part of that stuff to manage. I just got your little stapled copy of your books. Some people don't like all them spiral copies and throw them away anyway, they said. So I'm going to just, we saved you a little money on the bill, and I just gave it to you like this. You can get the PDF and then mark it and save it however you like on your computer or whatever you might want to do. If you flip through, there's an opinion letter on page 1 and 2, and then about page 4 is where the financials are at the end of December. So you'll see the checking and the savings balance at the end of the year. Of course, I know y'all moved some money into CD, I think, and then back out, had those little issues, and got through all that. So it's a little bit different balance on some of that. If you're looking in here today, at the end of May, the way it's split up. But anyway, that's where you were at the end of the year. And then you see receivables, and that's a lot of billing now at the end of the year, and having to be collected and those kind of things. so, it just all starts coming in. We don't get it all, so we estimate bad debts and all that sort of stuff like a business would try to do. Fixed assets, there's a schedule, more detail on that. If you look down toward the bottom half, you'll just see accounts payable, payroll liabilities, and you don't have any notes payable, long-term debt. So if you look down a little further, your net assets are sitting at 893,000 and change there, about that second line from the bottom. Page 5, where you want to kind of see your income and expenses side of this. Your district assessments for that stuff is, you recognize a little under 261,000. You've got governmental support, you've got billing services that you do, you've got recovery income and things like that. The total 362,000 in operating income. And then on your expenses, you see your operating expenses for payroll and related taxes are your biggest items, and everything else you're pretty frugal about. About the fifth line down is depreciation at 35,000. That's one of the items we kind of end up having to kind of corral in the audit, and we got to get the other accounting firm to update it, send them everything and all that. So when we left, we didn't have everything finally printed, but she can print you a report in there right now that kind of pulls all this back like it's supposed to be. So, but that's really the only change since we were here. If you kind of look down at the bottom, you'll see interest revenue and then gain on assets. So if you add those two together, it's about 25,000, almost 26,000, leaving you just above even on income statement at $941. So you can see without selling that stuff, you would have been in the hole $22,000 or so. So obviously, it's not the long-term way to get that. So I know you've been working hard to try to get some revenues up and things like they need to be funded. So hopefully we'll get there going forward. Page 6 is cash flow statement. Nothing there. I've already kind of mentioned it. You kind of like a negative $5,200. That included buying equipment about $27,000 worth of stuff. And then you got footnotes after that, going for 4 or 5 pages. Page 10 kind of gives some of the categories of the breakdown on assets. So we did some things with the buildings that we added in, and some minor equipment stuff that we added on. I think some turnout gear, maybe some other smaller items that hit in 24 as far as new stuff that added to it. Anyway, that's that. Last page just kind of talks about we get money from the county commissions and that kind of stuff as part of our grant money, that sort of thing. But, anyway, that's that part. As far as the audit side goes, as far as looking at checks and deposits and receipts and all the things that are going on internally, we didn't have any problems with any of that. So that's, that's the way you want that side of the house running. So other than that, I'm done unless you got questions.
Has the office manager been doing her job?
Yes.
He said she needed a
In
break.
short order, well, there's no money for that. They've already
Hey,
covered
you're
that.
supposed to be on my side.
I know, I want you to get twice what you make. We gotta get twice the money.
Do you think that could fall under the bad debt?
Sir?
Could that fall under the bad debt?
Oh, yeah. That'd be a good place for it. That'd be a good place to put it right there. Yeah.
Chunk of change to $500.
Yeah, I didn't really show any this year because of the way we're trying to adjust. That's the other one. I think I made note in that letter. It's got all that mumbo jumbo in it, if you will. But trying to get these receivables and stuff and get the transfer over on the software and billing that she's been working on. We didn't really recognize any bad debts this year. What you might notice though on that income, I didn't point it out. I'm not sure. I probably have to combine is your what would be called recovery income from some of those old things from like prior to 2020. If you recall, we booked a pretty high number, and for about 2 or 3 years, we collected a big chunk of that, and it slowly slowed down because we're not finding as much of it. So this past year, we went like $4,600. So So that's kind of part of your cash flow, because we were there for a couple of years and we were collecting $30,000-$40,000 a couple of times. We originally had that booked somewhere around $100,000. So we exhausted collecting all that we had estimated, if you would. So your net on there was just a few $1,000s this time. So I just, you know, that obviously there's still revenue out there and things with liens and all the stuff that you go through, but that's getting harder and farther and fewer between to collect it at any substantial amount. So anyway, that's kind of that part of the financial picture. That's nothing y'all already knows already.
Appreciate it.
Huh?
Any other questions? Thank you. You're more than welcome to stick around, or?
I know he's down the road, but did we get, we need to send those reports to get that 990 down. But I'll send you the PDF and just send him that. He should be good.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Don.
Have a good evening. Be safe.
On the North Pole.
Yes, sir. I got to slide on my own.
Oh,
A little further.
He doesn't move.
Yeah, we moved, actually, been there about 4.5 years now, so,
And after you got off the board of education, right?
yeah, the county, well, I got the county in Tuscaloosa about 6-8 years, and then ended up on the county, and now I'm in Hell County. I was just telling Brandon, we don't like it when we do that, but it's
Basically,
somewhat of a frustrating job, not that doing this. But anyway, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Don.
Take care. On the agenda, I'm gonna swap, I'd like to go ahead and read the December 2024.
Y'all bear with me, this is a little different format than I'm used to, but, call to order at 6:02 by Paul. Sonia and Brandon were absent, Daniel, Angela, Paul, Doug, and Mike were present. Approval of the November 24 Board of Directors minutes presented by Angela Fallon. Motion to accept the minutes as corrected by Daniel. Second by Doug, approved by all. Financial dashboard presented by Doug. Motion to accept by Daniel. Paul, second, approved by all. Monthly Chiefs Report for March 2025 presented by Lieutenant Christian Doyle. That's the other one.
Yeah, the other one.
I'm like, wait a minute, this says Tyler. There's another. All right, there were no committee reports. Communications, invoices are still being mailed out. The majority of invoices should be out by the end of the year. No old business. New business, the CD is set to expire December 24th. The fire district has 10 days from that point to move the funds, or the funds will automatically roll over. Board of Directors entered into a discussion of the best option for the funds in the expiring CD. After discussions, Daniel made a motion that funds in the expiring CD be moved to a money market account and up to the entire savings balance at the time determined by the treasurer, second by Angela, approved by all. No executive session. And the next Board of Directors monthly meeting we held on January 21st. Motion to adjourn, Daniel, second by Doug, approved by all. Meeting adjourned at 6:25.
Make a motion to accept without correction.
Second.
Daniel, motion, Mike seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
The second by Mike.
Yes. We didn't have a April meeting.
Yes, we did. We didn't have a May
We
meeting.
didn't have a
Excuse me,
May.
I'm sorry. I keep flipping those. So we'll go ahead with the reading of the March 13th.
April.
Or April.
April, golly. My days are all screwed up, or months are all screwed up.
All right, meeting called to order by Brandon at 6:01. Pledge and prayer is Brandon. Members present, Sonia, Daniel, Paul, Mike, Doug. Brandon absent was Angela. Prior minutes read by Sonia. Motion to accept with changes by Daniel, second by Mike, approved by all. November 2024 minutes read. Motion to approve, Brandon, second by Daniel, approved by all. Treasurer's report, Doug reviewed the financial dashboard for March. Motion to accept by Sonia, second by Paul, approved by all. Chief report, presented by Chief Dole. Emergency runs was 115, Lakeview 105, Abernat 10, Lakeview 291, Abernat, this is year to date. Lakeview 291, Abernat 34, year to date total 325. Module 1 of the CBFF has been completed. Module 2 starts on April 7th. Truck maintenance 1303 had the pump rebuilt by CATS due to extensive damage. The truck is back in service. 1303 also has been serviced. All vehicles have been serviced as of April the 4th. Fire recovery received $1,657.06 for March. Firehouse grant subs granted $25,312. Bay doors for Station 1 to be installed on 4/15. City of Lakeview approved $10,000 towards the installation project at Station 2. Tentative start date is May the 5th. Need to decide what to do with the old turnout gear in the Butler building. Mike Fisher made a motion to donate the old gear to Saginaw with a waiver of liability. Brandon Jones second, approved by all. No committee reports. Communications website may be down tomorrow for upgrades. Old business proceeds from the sale of the truck. $15K was added to the money market account. Net was $13,500 with fees taken out. Doug made a motion to form a committee to come up with a better idea for the money market accounts, second by Mike. The committee will be, and I should have had approved by all.
I believe that was actually Brandon that made that motion.
Is it Brandon? Oh, I had your name on there. I talked too much. Committee will be Paul, Martha, Daniel, and Doug. New business, Daniel made a motion to add a $50 rush fee for the title requests or assessment letters for liens, judgments, and backfire dues that are requested to be delivered within 48 hours. Mike second, approved by all. Brandon Jones announced that Angela has resigned her position. Tentative date for dues increases to June 24th, still waiting on official order. Daniel made a motion to adjourn, second by Mike, approved by all at 6:35. Other than my couple of little typos, I think we're good.
Under Chief's report, like the first Lakeview's missed out. Under emergency runs in Lakeview.
Thank you. Hey, that was all of his.
Yeah.
I'll fix it.
One other little typo, Doug, under the module 1, module 2 starts on April 7th, it must be started on April 7th, because the meeting was on.
Well, at the time, it was gonna start the next day. The time of the meeting, it was gonna be the next
The
day.
meeting was 4/13,
Yeah.
4/7, I mean,
I'll go back and check it.
I mean, it's a simple started versus starts.
Hang on a minute. Well, you can blame that on Tyler, because that's what's it is.
You probably did say that, but
We got a motion to accept.
Motion to accept the corrections.
All right, Daniel and who?
second,
Daniel and Paul.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Brandon, we need to start making sure we have minutes recorded for meetings that don't have a quorum.
Okay.
And all it has to do is be, Lakeview Fire Board meeting not held due to lack of quorum accepted, but we need to put that in there for continuity.
I'll write that up.
You writing that in the minutes for this month?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving to the treasurer's report for both. Well, for the beginning ending balance just shows May, but I'll talk about expenses and all that stuff for both months. Checking, we began the month with 15,979.75. We ended with 41,762.69. And there's a note that we did receive the grant from Firehouse in the amount of $25,312 for extrication equipment. And then we had
$61.48 in savings. Kind of looking at both months as I go down. Looks like we didn't get any fire recovery in April. Then we had the sale of the one truck that hit in May. That's the sale of surplus items. That
You
was
get a
the.
credit back for insurance?
What was your question?
Did we get a credit back for insurance?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
For that truck that was on.
281, is that what you're looking at?
Well, yeah, negative 281 in our expense column.
And then going down to expenses. Equipment maintenance was a good bit higher and, or wait a minute, let me get the wrong months.
It was in April.
Yeah, it's higher in April than. Nothing else is popping out at me.
Look like we're staying pretty steady on recovering some delinquent dues in April. Recovered $4,847, and May we recovered $34.77 and some change, so.
Mm-hmm.
What's the equipment maintenance, what do we do that causes it to be so much higher than its regular, do we just have a lot of trucks that got all that done at the same time, or?
For April?
Yeah.
That's when all the checks cleared for getting the truck serviced, getting the Cascade system serviced downstairs. That's when all of our annual maintenance stuff really happens, is March, April.
But equipment maintenance would be anything other than trucks. Trucks has its own category.
Can we,
That's what I meant.
can we spread that out across a couple of months, just to, so we won't have such a big hit?
Typically, we do, usually between
It just
January,
happened.
between January and April. This year, it just hit because EEP and NAFCO couldn't come out here until almost the same time.
I got you, okay. I
So
thought
really based on them, when we call, they just do what they got available.
Anybody else see anything? Take a motion to accept the treasury report.
So moved.
To accept treasury report.
And,
That was Paul and Mike.
yeah, Mike, you wanna second that? Since he
Oh,
made it.
the second, no.
Mike seconded it, Paul made the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. All right, moving to the chief's report?
You doing last month's first?
Sure.
Or, okay. 97 emergency runs, 87 in Lakeview, 10 in Abernathy. Training, module 2 for 160 was completed. Module 3 started on May 19th. None to report on truck maintenance. We didn't receive anything for fire recovery in April. And then the firehouse sub grant money was received, equipment was ordered, and the station 2 installation job was completed. And then this month's, I didn't change this number, it's wrong. 109 emergency runs, not 97. 104 in Lakeview, 5 in Abernathy. Year to date is 531. Module 3 160 is in progress. We'll finish on June 21st. Hamatro training day on July 11th and 12th. None to report on truck maintenance. Fire recovery, we received $5,177.39. Firehouse sub grant equipment is here and it's in service now. And then working with Woodstock Village reps on hydrant replacements for all the development on Youngblood.
What is Halmatro training?
That's the brand of our extrication
Okay.
equipment and everything else that we just got from Firehouse. So they do a in-service training.
Good deal.
We go ahead and place it on the truck and it's there, but they're gonna come out and do a training day to go over all of it as well.
All right. Good deal. Any committee reports? communications.
In communications, we've gotta get more aggressive on, posting on social media about fire news, about the increase, about what the money needs to go to, you got people still harping that there's no, there's no financials, there's no stuff available, and then people having to hop in and say, you can go look at the website, it's all public information, but you still got people acting like none of this has been discussed, none of it's been brought up, and that needs to be something that's more aggressively put out there so that it can be shared more aggressively and seen more aggressively. Because you're getting people coming into local groups on places like Facebook and Nextdoor and whatnot, and they're going in and they're talking about the comments are turned off on the fire department Facebook page and there's no information. So it's one thing for a bunch of people to jump in the comments and say, hey, no, you're wrong, you can go find information here, there's videos on YouTube, but the department's official page needs to put that information out so it can be shared, so it can be, no, the department is telling you everything, and here it is. That is, hey, we can't have another vote go down just because there's a whole bunch of people who didn't pay attention. And then when somebody says, well, the department doesn't say anything, looking at the official department page, there's nothing other than, one post with a form letter.
Can we put a link to the new audit?
No. Hey,
The audit
links, share the YouTube video, everything.
What'd you say?
The audit to go on the website.
Yeah.
The videos of the board meeting get shared every month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we gotta have more out there, more, hey, here's where your dues go, here's what it costs to run this department, here's what you get for this kind of thing. It's gotta be put out there.
We can put this budget out there on the Facebook page at any time. That, I know it's been running around on other sites. So.
Yep, I mean, you can let other people share it around, it's perfectly fine, but putting it on the department's social media and then say somebody like me can share it, or somebody like Sonia can share it, then it's not just, oh, there's a person who's talking about what's going on in the department actually said it. And it's just another level of chopping off some of the people who are out there spreading a lot of misinformation at the news. Because there's a lot of them out there.
Our plan is to try to put a couple of things a week that's facts on the website and on Facebook. But there's a few things that we're trying to iron out first.
We better iron them quick, because we gotta,
We're ironing.
yeah. Heat it up.
I got it on high.
About to burn your clothes around it. All right. Moving on to old business. Anything?
Whatever happened to that block wall out there?
This one?
Yeah,
I don't think you.
that guy was supposed to be back and never showed, or?
Well, we haven't heard from him in a while until Martha recently talked to him, because he had a pretty extensive medical, he's had multiple surgeries and spent a lot of time in physical therapy and rehab and stuff.
He had neck, knee, and gallbladder surgery.
So he's been under the weather for a little while.
He has not felt well.
I bet.
But he's supposed to be coming by, I don't know how he is now, if he's back fully 100% or what, but he's supposed to be coming by sometime next week to look at a couple things for us anyhow. So we can try to touch base on it again.
I saw something in the minutes about the old gear. Is it officially gone? We got documentation and all that stuff? Okay. And that was a yes.
Yeah.
Some people probably don't see that. So. All right. Thank you, sir.
Any progress on the old hoses?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
We're still trying to get it all.
Good, that's fine. You got rid of the gear anyway.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's a work in progress.
Yeah. Any new business? It looks like you got software.
Yeah, the reporting software, which I'll let Jim elaborate on.
So, I know Brandon, we're going from NIFRS to NERIS, which is the national reporting system. NIFRS NIFRS was the National Fire Incident Reporting System, which is now outdated, and they're going to the National Emergency Response Information System. It's basically where we send all of our runs, and
Fire runs, especially.
all of them.
Oh, all,
Everything gets
okay,
reported.
I didn't know
So every month, all 109 got submitted.
that. Okay.
Biggest reason we do it is grant approvals. They use that information for that. Now, him and I can go on there and look at our runs and see where, like, it compiles everything a lot easier. Anyway, long story short, emergency reporting, the system we use right now, is not nearest compliant. And NIFRS goes away January 1. We are now on nearest. Our application has been approved for that system. I can still report to NIFRS until January, but we're gonna have to go to a new reporting system.
Now, I was reading something, is Nearest not a standalone software where you can do it just on Nearest without other separate reporting software?
So you can do direct entry,
Mhm.
but that means every run has to be put in manually.
At the time of the call or after the call?
After the call.
Yeah.
So if you came in here, you would put.
You
it
can't
in
batch.
They don't communicate. And it would be a full-time job to put 1,100 runs into two reporting systems.
Exactly.
So I talked to Jeb Harrison from the Fire Marshal's office. He sent me a list of nationwide companies that will be nearest compliant. And Tyler and I are gonna go through, we have some old quotes. Biggest reason we're bringing it up, it's gonna cost more.
Any of those softwares on that list are gonna be more than emergency reporting, because it's honestly cheap for a reporting system.
All right. And January of 2026 is when it
Yes,
has to.
yes.
We gotta
but-
be on a new system by January 1.
Yes, but Mr. Harrison's word of advice was, do not wait till the last minute.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because if there's a hiccup in there, you know, if we
If I
sign.
do it anyway, well, we'll go ahead and do it.
We're gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
start talking to people and try to get some quotes, and I hope to have at least 3 or 4 of them by next meeting. That way we can kinda look at it a little better, because the sooner, because say we have it, talk about it next month, and try to decide on one, that's already July.
Yeah.
By the time we get the software and they build our program and our department stuff and we implement it and train on it, it'll be October by the time we get started on it.
Now, we got Vector for scheduling, right?
Right.
And they don't have a fire software, though, do they? I didn't think so.
No, but some of these reporting softwares do offer scheduling. That's one of the things I'm gonna look at, is combine it all into one
Yeah.
and just be done with the multiple.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Instead of having 3 subscriptions, just have one.
All right. Well, just let us know whenever you're ready. All right. See, I guess we're down there.
We got one more under new, but it's not actually on there, but do you wanna address it, Martha, or you want me to?
You know, y'all voted to have $9,000 put aside for the insulation. I've already had to pay for that, and so that now my checking account go right in. So we probably need to transfer some money over from the savings to the checking, because we're gonna have, election bills come out next month and stuff. So I was thinking maybe 25, because 9 of that's already spent.
I'm seeing 99 in savings, is that right?
Yes.
29.
So,
Make it even.
I don't think a motion needs to be made for that, or anything.
No.
I mean, we can, and it'll hurt them, just to move money around. I'll make a motion to move. We can make it even, we can make it 29,000 to the regular checking account from savings to cover the expenses. Support. Sonia, you got it?
I got it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right.
So motion adjourned.
No public, so All right, got a motion on the floor to adjourn? Second. All in favor? Next board meeting will be July. Vote date, please.
Why is it that we don't do a mailing for the select?
21st, is that what I'm saying?
Ooh, I